Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for Madam Web.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
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 Don't make me destroy you.
So, Madam Web. To be honest, I think even the weather seems to agree. This is not by chance. This room is not dark and miserable by chance. It is just literally the lighting. It is miserable. It is a mess. The outside world is pouring misery and rain all over everything. And this film is no different. Madame Web is by far, and I'm not over-exaggerating when I say this, Madame Web is by far one of the worst comic book movies I have ever seen. It is an unmitigated mess. It's an unmitigated disaster. I have no idea. Fundamentally, I have no idea. I've been scratching my head, I've been racking my brain. I have no idea how this film has come to be made. It doesn't make any sense. It is clearly a film made by a committee designed to do only one thing: flush out something simple, quick, and fucking shit. 100% that was the objective. There was no other underlying objective within this film. It is awful. Every single aspect of this film is awful. There are no redeeming features in this film. It is awful. And for me, that's something I very rarely do. That I always tend to find something that I can hang on to, that I can grip hold of and say, well, at least that was okay. At least that did well. At least this particular moment was all right. There is nothing in this film where I was able to do that. And it's sad. I'm angry at the waste of time. This film is 2 hours long. I am angry at the waste of time I put into this film. And I knew it would be bad, judging by the trailer. But you can't judge a trailer wholly on the entirety of the product. But I needed to see this film to clarify something. And it has been clarified. Sony is not interested in making good whatever this universe, Alter Spider-Universe film is. They're not interested in making these good films. They're not. Because there's no way they would have let this release. There's absolutely no way they would have let this release. So, Dakota Johnson plays Cassie Webb. She's a paramedic. She's living in New York and she's trying to help people, albeit in an awkward, not wanting to do it kind of way because she's an orphan and was adopted. But she still holds a lot against her mother for going off doing certain things. There's a guy who we see who's killed her mother, and I'm going to go into spoilers throughout this film because I don't think you should see this film at all. And I'm going to make it as quick as I can. She comes across 3 teenage girls who are attacked by this crazy man, and all of a sudden Madame Web, Cassandra Webb, can start seeing into the future. And it's all a result of her banging her head, and all a result of her mother being bitten by a spider when she was pregnant with her in the Amazon before she died. And she's forced to come to revelations about her past, her future, and her responsibilities to save these 3 young teenage girls against this man, Ezekiel Sims, who plays a villainous Spider-Man looking kind of person. And it's as daft and as ludicrous as it sounds. We jump from, well, I'd say set piece to set piece, but there are no set pieces in this film. It just trudges along, sludging through an absolute trough of garbage dialogue, garbage writing, even worse acting. Man, it's awful. I'm really struggling already just to try and figure out some way of telling you how bad this film is. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. It's absolutely hopeless. It doesn't look good. It isn't edited well. My word. The highlight of the editing fucking disaster is that the villain is somehow dubbed throughout this film in random places, and the editing doesn't cover it. You can tell clear as day that he is dubbed as he is speaking in certain scenes. There is a scene where he's standing behind this woman who's helping him, kind of like the Oracle from the Batman films, the Batman series. And she's telling him where these people are and how to find them. And he's stood right behind her, and you can see his mouth, and he says a line, but those words don't come out of his fucking mouth. Oh no, they just come out of the fucking ether somewhere. Awful. And the editing disaster isn't even just solely fixed into there. The film chops and changes and jumps and cuts and fizzles and goes somewhere else and does all this, and the CGI melded into it is just awful. It's all wrong. It's a mess. There's no logic behind it. I don't know what people were doing in this film to make this film like this. It beggars belief. I'm shocked. I'm still shocked now, and it's been a whole 24 hours since I saw this fucking film, and I still can't find any reason or justification for what it was doing. My word. It's embarrassing. This film is embarrassing from the top down. The dialogue is it's tedious. It's created by some kind of, I don't know who wrote this. I don't want to look at the writing list because I don't care, because they're clearly hacks. They clearly have no talent because it's poor. It's laughable. There are so many moments in this film where I laughed, not out of enjoyment, not out of surprise or excitement, but out of pure embarrassment for the words being spewed by these actors. And they're not terrible actors, but in this film they have nothing to work with. It should come as no surprise to anyone, and for those of you who may well jump on defending this film, for fuck's sake, Dakota Johnson, after the trailer was released, fired her agent. She fired her agent. What the fuck does that tell you? She's been contractually obliged to fucking do this press tour, and all through the press tour there's been subtle nuggets of just how disappointed she is, how shocked she is, how much she was told it was going to be completely something different. It should come as no surprise to you that these actors will never fucking speak of this film again, because we're never going to hear anything more from this film again. We're not going to get a sequel.
Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel. Ah! Ah!
We're never going to get a sequel. Hands down, we'll never get a sequel. We will never see these characters again either. And is that a bit of a conspiracy theory? Let's jump in. Let's think really hard. So, what's the best way for Sony to pollute these characters if indeed the MCU and Disney ever fully take control of Spider-Man? Say they buy out Spider-Man completely. What's the best thing Sony could do with the periphery characters of the Spider universe? I know, make shit films so that nobody will ever want to see the characters again, thereby limiting the options and choices of Disney and the MCU to utilise Spider-Man villains, to utilise secondary Spider-Man characters. The only one they can't do, and they won't do, is Miles Morales, because it's a massive hit. Hence why they've pumped so much goddamn money and effort into the Spider-verse films. Why have they not done it with these films? Because they're doing it on purpose. They're making them shit on purpose because it's fucking funny. They have to be. They have to be doing this on purpose because there's no other reason why it would be this shit. There's literally no other reason. Oh, my word. The action is disastrous. There are so many scenes that don't make any logical sense. There is a moment where Cassie, Webb's boss and friend, is telling her to go and do something during this massive fire in a warehouse on the harbour, and she's like, "No, I've seen your future. You're gonna die," and all this kind of shit. And he gets in this ambulance anyway and drives forward. A truck plows into the side, going at immense speed, killing him in this ambulance. We have all this emotional thing, which is not emotional because it hasn't earned it. As we pull away, we see that the truck was driving So here's where the ambulance is. The truck's there being hit, and just over here is the edge of the harbour. So this truck, travelling at fucking immense speed, would have ploughed straight into the harbour. Who fucking designed this film? Who set this film up? There's just scenes in here to create tension where there is no tension. The scenes in here to create fucking fear and horror. There's no horror. The scenes in here to create action. There's no action. They try and utilise dialogue to draw up some kind of emotional response. There is no emotion in this film. It is flat. It is absolutely flat. My God, the logic just evaporates. And you can separate logic from superhero movies to a degree, but when the film fundamentally has nothing of any logical sense or basis within it, then arguably the rest of it is just you can't suspend your disbelief any further. You simply can't. She goes to the Peruvian jungle to find these people. She goes on her own. She doesn't even take a fucking compass. She just has some photographs and a vague map, which literally says on the underside of it that we see as the audience, map of Peru. Fuck off, really. And she just manages to find her way. The Peruvian Amazon. And she manages to find her way. Go fuck yourself, film. You piece of shit writing garbage bale fucking awful piece of shit. I'm running out of descriptors. This is how lost I am. I've run out of descriptors for this film. And there is a singular moment, and it happens, and everyone will cringe because there are cringy Spider-Man references in this film. There's even a cringy Hulk reference. You wouldn't like me when I'm hangry. This film is set in 2003, but it carries no aesthetics from 2003. But I'm guessing the Incredible Hulk film, when was that released? Was that released in 2003? I can't remember. But there's that weird sort of reference there for no reason whatsoever. And then we have these weird Spider-Man references. And there is a Ben in this film, and there's a woman that's pregnant in this film. So you can guess where they're going here. And we have these vague little references, these vague little connective tissues. But then the character she meets in the Peruvian jungle literally tells her, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the quote fully, but when you embrace your responsibility, great power will come. Fuck yourself. How dare you, film? How dare you cut that wonderful fucking phrase? That phrase which set superhero movies off again with the Spider-Man film. How dare you use that phrase, chop it, mutilate it, repurpose it for this film. It is not earned whatsoever. She doesn't embrace anything. There is no embracing of anything. When she embraces these powers, it looks terrible. We don't even know fully what her power set is. At the end of the film, she sees the four girls in trouble all at the same time, and the villain does the thing from fucking Spider-Man. You can't save them all. Well, she does. She uses some kind of telekinetic fucking power where she can separate herself and appear in different locations. How she does this, why she does this, where this has come from, we don't know. It's all just vague explanation. She does it, she rescues all of them, and then the villain dies in the most pathetic way by a Pepsi display. And we'll come to that in just a second. But the film just there's no conjoining matter. It's all just wavy, flaky nonsense going from one moment to the next. The Pepsi angle, oh my god, product placement is usually quite good in movies. However, there is a sequence in this film, roughly about 5 minutes long, where she holds a Pepsi can right the way through, never opens it, until she sits down at a baby shower for unborn Peter Parker. Again, we don't ever get told it's Peter Parker, but yeah, we fucking know because we're not stupid, and it's really unsubtle and it's really shit. And she holds this Pepsi can, and then in this baby shower, the Pepsi can is on the table, and the logo is facing us in every single angle possible. It's like a rotating Pepsi can, and the villain is killed by a Pepsi sign. I shit you not. In a fireworks factory, there is a Pepsi sign on top of the factory, and he is killed by a Pepsi sign. Product placement. Excellent news. Thank you very much. I have been lamenting for 15 minutes straight at this point. I'm going to dial it back just a second to say that this film is sad. It is a sad, sorry state of affairs that we are at this point, this nadir of superhero cinema, that we are utterly lost with terrible decision making, terrible writing, terrible dialogue, terrible special effects. These special effects are worse than some of the films that were released in the early noughties when this film was set. That's what hammers this film as being so terrible even more, is that it looks worse than the films it's almost trying to emulate in some kind of bizarre comedic way. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. The action is flimsy at best. It's weak. The acting is poor. It's oddly paced. The editing is shocking. It's mismatched. It doesn't make any sense. The dubbing is some of the worst I've heard. ADR dubbing, it could well be. He had to come back and do some more audio for his character, because we never hear him. We never hear him speak when he's wearing the mask, I think, bar a few occasions. But it's awful. It's terrible. The performances across the board just don't make any sense. The direction is all over the place. The cinematography is lackluster at best. This is a fundamental disaster. And I don't believe anyone when they say they will enjoy this film. If you are enjoying this film, I don't believe you. I really don't believe you. And I think you need to have a very hard look in the mirror with a film like this, because it's not even good from a cringy perspective. Like I said, there's nothing you can look at and go, well, that was quite funny. Maybe they're doing that on purpose. No. Nothing here is on purpose. Everything here is by accident. It's on purpose of it being fucking, shit. Yeah, but they fundamentally believe this film is good, I guess, in the way they've released it, but it's not. It's an unmitigated disaster. I don't know. There's nothing ironic about it. I'm simply lost. I mean, what do I say? Is it worse than Catwoman? It's not far off. Is it worse than Elektra? It's not far off. What an absolute mess. Is it worse than Morbius? Possibly. Very possibly. For that reason, I have to give this film a 1 out of 10. This has been an absolute cringe mess, unmitigated disaster. And I don't know what else to say. I've run out of descriptors to describe this film. It is 2 hours I will never get back. It is 2 hours of absolute maddening experiences that I'll never get back. I looked at my missus at one point and she was completely baffled. Everyone was baffled. People walked out of this screening. It's been a while since I've seen people walk out of a screening, but people left, and there weren't very many of us in the screening. What a mess. Madam Web, a 1 out of 10. I cannot advise you see this film, even ironically. I cannot advise it. We all watched Morbius, ironically, because we knew the sheer levels of terribleness in it. But even then, there were cringy moments that served certain sections quite well. Matt Smith's dancing, for example. In this film, there is nothing of the sort. It is all terrible. Absolutely terrible. Beyond words. I've lost the words. I'm losing my voice as we speak because I'm fucking shocked. I'm still shocked at how bad this film is. For the love of God, save your money. Wait for it to appear on whatever streaming service it's going to appear on. But even then, watch with trepidation, because this is by far the worst film of 2024. I'm talking mainstream fucking film. This is by far the worst film. Atrocious. A dud. It is DOA on arrival.
Clever girl.
What the fuck? Oh, I'm going to leave this review there. I have lamented for nearly 20 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay away from this film. If you like this review, please do like it. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. And pray that the rest of the year brings about better films. My God, what an absolute disaster. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, please do like the video. Leave a comment. What were your thoughts on this film? Is this worse? Is this the worst superhero movie ever made? I'm not quite sure it is. I've seen much worse. But, my God, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you on the next one. I need to go and have a lie down. Bye-bye.